This guy,
He's trying.
this guy. No, well, no. Here's the thing. He has done this to himself. You court the audience that you want, and the audience that you want will turn their back on you, or at least some of them will. Steven Spielberg faces backlash after dubbing Squid Game cast as unknown people. We will point out, me and Lydia talked about this. This article is framed very, very salaciously, if you will. But it says Steven Spielberg has faced backlash after dubbing the Squid Game cast as unknown people. The Hollywood director made the comments about the cast of the viral K-drama during the recent PGA. All I can think of is like a golf award. Is Tiger Woods, the PGA Awards panel on the 19th of March. Spielberg discussed the impact of the show on the entertainment industry and praised Netflix for the decision to cast the supposedly unknown performers in the series. He said, quote, Squid Game comes along and changes the math entirely for all of us. Thank you, Ted Sarandos?
I'm not sure.
He said he gestured towards Netflix CEO, who was in the audience, according to Deadline. He continued, a long time ago, it was domestic stars that brought the audience to the movies. Today, it's interesting. Unknown people can star in entire miniseries and can be in movies. The director made the statement as the panel were weighing up whether it's necessary to cast well-known actors in leading roles or in order to for projects to take off. As Spielberg praised the streaming platform for apparently providing opportunities for the South Korean actors to have a starring role.
Right. So that's great, right? The title's not. This is these news sites slow news day. Yeah.
But the problem is slow news day is very easily catches on fire, and it was already on. Like when I went and looked this up, I went to see if maybe there was like a one that was written differently. Sometimes I look for ones that have different source, or just sometimes the website just bothers me, and I'll just go look for different words. On social media, it says, however, Spielberg came under fire for his comments, garnering more than 3,500 shares of an IndieWire article on Twitter that discusses his remarks, with many social media users noting that a lot of Squid Game actors cast are established actors in Asia. He clearly did not mean that they were unknown actors. He meant that to most
American
audiences, these were not known actors.
Yeah.
This is deliberate framing, both from this website, the IndieWire article, and these people on Twitter who are desperate for something to be upset about, to have something to be angry about, and then to complain. Correction. It says, quote, correction. It says one social media user. I also love how now social media user is enough to acquire.
It's not a source. My gosh.
Yes.
No.
One social media user wrote about the comments.
Let's go, Lydia.
Oh my gosh.
Tell us how you
Pet
really
peeve,
feel.
Man.
Unknown to people who only watch American entertainment, I guess.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yes, but it's the way they said it. I'm critiquing this person too for their elitist tweet as much as I am critiquing the article. Correction, Squid Game proves that Hollywood has been way behind in recognizing and celebrating long-standing South Korean film and TV storytelling and talent. Another tweeted, they're right about that. Me and you talk a lot about how manga is destroying American comic books and how anime is destroying American entertainment in general.
Because at least they have imagination.
Yes. Corrections. Okay, so it says, in fact, Squid Game lead actor Lee Jung-ja is said to be one of the most bankable celebrities in South Korea, according to Esquire, having starred in the critically acclaimed movies in the past, like The Housemaid in 2010. Furthermore, Gong Yoo, who starred in 2 episodes of Squid Game, played the lead role in the 2016's Train to Busan. Go see that if you have not.
That movie is so sad, but if you guys like zombie and drama, there you go.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I do love this. I did also put up the one from, I feel so bad for Steven Spielberg from the New York Post, which they're talking about what he said, and there was a specific. I do love these takes from people that they get more ridiculous. They added more. It says, more ethnocentrism courtesy of Americans who can't see past their own borders. What series like Squid Games illustrates is exactly the opposite, that people around the world are satisfied with content other than English, white, U.S. entertainment, wrote one user. Second, some chimed in, folks, today's whitest take brought to you by Mr. Steven Spielberg and the literal all-star cast of Squid Games.
Okay, that's kind of harsh. I get it. What he said was kind of insensitive. Yes, like
It wasn't. It wasn't insensitive. It was just framed
correct,
as insensitive. Now, the only reason I'm pointing this out is because, like I say, you win, the audience you court.
Yes,
and
that's fair.
if anybody remembers his famous line from when he was promoting West Side Story, which was he refused to put Spanish subtitles in a movie with Spanish speaking because he said it would be very disrespectful to Spanish speakers, he said, because it would have signaled that they weren't the intended audience, which is an insane and almost...
Could we just say he's senile?
Can I just say that? Excuse him, Miracle.
It's an insane take.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely insane take. I don't think that what anybody who speaks any language wants is to theoretically not be understood by the people that are watching the movie.
That right there is nothing but a virtue signal.
Yes.
Yeah.
He should be making Spanish more accessible to people and
Yes.
being like, oh, you should try to learn this language so you don't have to have subtitles. But no, he chose not to do that. So it's a virtue signal.
So his virtue signaling is what gets him. It's what gets him in the hot water that he's in now.
Serves him right.
So it serves him right. I did like the article from. I have this one from No Film School, which is one of my sites for more esoteric takes on stuff. But it says, so it says it's often mentioned in a project. It says, let me start up here. It says Spielberg seemed to follow suit, casting Rachel Zegler in her first role as Maria in West Side Story. They're talking about the endorsement of new faces within these industries, and says it is often mentioned that if a project or surrounding storyline has recognition, it might be the perfect time to try out new actors in the roles. This and it's also why they do at the Marvel movies. It's why they bring in unknown directors, because the name of the character, Captain America, is strong enough on its own as a brand that they do not need they do not need the greatest director, the biggest director in the world to carry that role. So it's the death of individualism in the form of great actors and directors, and becoming more about the corporatism in the IP is strong enough, not necessarily the actors.
Right.
So it says it is often mentioned that if a project or surrounding storyline has recognition, it might be the perfect time to try out new actors in the role, since the audience usually flocks to the intellectual property, but Squid Game defied that.
Good for them. That's great.
When asked for more, Spielberg did suggest anchoring new faces with at least one recognizable and bankable star. This is 110% right. A lot of shows will give you that lead, will be a well-known face, and then the rest of the actors will be lesser known. One good example of them turning it on its head here is when they cast Drew Barrymore in the first Scream movie, and then she died in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and the rest of the actors in the film were objectively far less recognizable at that time than she was. But it made you feel that if she can die in the first act of the movie, then anybody can.
One of them can.
So that's an example of using a bankable star to work with a lesser known person to make a more palatable project for people. You bring in people with the bankable star, and then if done right, the lesser known actors' charisma, talent will stand on its own, launch them into a higher standing within the industry, and hopefully make the product better.
Right.
So
it's awesome. Yeah, it's a good rule of thumb.
Yep. So it says, meanwhile, Spielberg's movie was anchored by Ansel Elgort and Rita Moreno. Ansel Elgort will be brought up forever now because of all the stuff that's going out against him. We won't talk about. We might have to talk about that one day, but because we're going to be talking about Tokyo Vice, and he's in that. He's got his own problems attached to him, and Rita Moreno, allowing other stars to shine while making the studio feel comfortable. But a place like Netflix has less to worry about there. They can take the risks to open up casting because they're not worried about the box office numbers at all. They're right about that. We watched Archive 81, and I didn't recognize almost any of the names in Archive 81.
I only recognized the main actor.
The leading Mamadou. I didn't recognize him.
I recognize him because I think Jordan Peele always casts his character.
The lady
movies.
Oh, so you've seen other stuff from him. He was new to me. The girl who played the lead actress's crazy friend was the one I recognized. That was the only,
really. I didn't recognize her, but her look is so unique to me. I was very
Yep. She has like a
Very
face.
confused by her.
She has a very unique face, a very cool facial. Like you could tell, like a director was like, "You're going to be great on camera." She had a very unique look.
Great for this role,
So it
for
says,
sure.
I still think the studios rely too much on stars in order to advertise to people why they should come see a movie on TV. I do think a concept can bring people in more readily because they can access it from their homes, and they're right about that. I do think that the age of the general movie star has slowly died off.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I do think there are still plenty of actors that will bring in an audience on their own. Tom Cruise, whether people like it or not, is an example of that.
Yeah.
There are actors on that level who can do that, but not the same way it was 30 years ago when it was the age, or 40 years ago when it was the age of the movie star.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think that Steven Spielberg kind of brought this on himself
for sure.
with the virtue signaling, but I also don't want to let these papers and these articles off the hook for realistically turning this into more than it needed to be. It's kind of proof that doesn't matter what you do, you can get in trouble for anything.
Of course. Well, this kind of reminds me of raising children, because the idea of rewarding someone with attention when they do something bad, like objectively unhelpful to the world, like putting someone's tweet in an article when
and
they don't deserve it.
Twitter's designed to do that.
Twitter is ridiculous, and the fact that they publish them in articles, like in bona fide news articles, so disturbing to me.
Isn't like one of them Daily Beast does that a lot.
A lot of them do. Like, it's a very common thing. New York Post does it, and I like and respect New York Post, but it's like, come on, man.
I like the idea of using Twitter posts unrelated to an article. I like the idea of seeing a curated conversation people are having about something,
right?
Whether it's to laugh at it because it's absolutely ridiculous. There are conversations to be had there, but this is being deliberately framed a certain way and taken into a context that doesn't really match, all for the sake of clicks, which I have a problem with within the industry. So I would not want to be an actor. I would not want to be a director. I would not want to work in this industry, given that any small misstep can get you canceled, when all that really means is some 15-year-old on Twitter said that you were bad.
Right, exactly.
You don't know what you're essentially arguing with an empty shell. You don't know what that person looks
could
like.
Be a robot.
You could be
a bot. Absolutely could.
Also, why are we listening to 15-year-olds?
Well, that was just an example. I don't know. I don't know if that person is actually 15.
A lot of people tend to listen to like little kids, and because like you can't tell who they are either.
Yep.
So we tend to listen to like immature kids.
And then Neon and Geeky would talk about how like, and then if you talk back to them, they're like, you can't do that. I'm only 15.
Then you should get your account revoked.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. So that is the world we're living in now in the social media. It's why I'm glad I don't have Twitter. I know that you stand by that I should have a Twitter.
I use Twitter, and it is good for certain things. And I do really like the engagement that it offers, because it's really fast paced. But the truth of the matter is that the whole point is to outrage people enough to get a response.
My favorite earlier, not a Twitter example, but an example of why I can't have a thing like Twitter, is that I was watching a video on Instagram earlier of a dad who, like, it's like a husband who would always throw pieces of like cheese, like of like Kraft singles on his wife, and like drop them from like the top of the house onto her forehead, and then they had a kid, and then
they
he's
do that to babies.
He's like, I've waited 9 months for my son to be born, and another 5 months for him to grow big enough for this moment, and it shows him bringing the cheese over and dropping the cheese on the kid, and the kid just looks like mildly delighted by it, and then all the comments are just people like, this is child abuse.
What?
But here's the thing. I looked at the video, and I'm looking at the likes and then the comments, and I see them like 1,000 comments. Oh, I know exactly what this is going to be. Like. And I went in there deliberately knowing that I was about to enter a cesspool of hyperbole and anger that was going to ruin my day.
Have you seen the meme of the guy who's putting on the biohazard waist suit, and he puts on the helmet and he opens the door, and the door says comment section? The comment section.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's what Twitter is. That's what all this is. So it's why I stay away from it for the most part. I don't find it helpful. But Steven Spielberg can't really get away from being part of the conversation because of who he is.
He shouldn't have tried to cater to it.
He shouldn't. I don't think that helped. I think there is no winning. Right. Because you can never be enough for these people.
Yep.
So
again, can we just say he has dementia, or like maybe
No,
You can
I'm not
say it.
accusing
I don't
him.
know if
I
it's
think
true.
It's not true.
I just want it to be possible.
Maybe he's pretty old.
It's
yeah,
possible.
he's pretty
Someone have
old. Like
movies,
he's
though.
losing it.
Maybe.
He's losing a little bit marbles here and there.
Yeah.
It's very possible. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.